There's this viral video of a nurse, and it's like this viral tweet says, "This is for all the COVIDiots who use survival rate as like an excuse for not following lockdown." You saw this video?
Oh, I did a video on it.
Yeah, she's like, imagine if I gave you like millions and millions of Skittles. And then I told you that 17 million would make you sick and have lingering effects. And that 300,000 would kill you. Would you still want to eat them? And I'm like, okay, hold on. How many Skittles are we talking? You said millions upon millions. And then you said 99.9% are safe, but 17 million will kill you. So that doesn't make sense. If 17 million is 0.1 of the Skittles. Like,
right.
Okay, so let's do some math. More importantly, though, you mean to tell me that you view somebody working, a man or woman, to feed their kids as eating candy?
Wow.
That was the craziest thing to me. And I was like, let me ask you a question. If you were in the middle of the desert and you have gone without water for a day or two, and you saw a pool of green, murky water, and that's it, it will make you sick. You'll probably die. Would you drink it?
Absolutely.
You would. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Wouldn't even hesitate.
Wouldn't
even hesitate. Who would? But I mean, that's why the Skittle analogy was so terrible, because we look at, people don't understand, when we mention the survival rate, we're talking about risk here, right? That's what we're talking about more than anything. So even with the Skittle, I don't think that has 100%. Somebody's probably died from, I don't know, diabetes from eating Skittle, or choked on a Skittle or something like that. So I don't think,
eat them.
Yeah, exactly. So people still eat them. So I don't even think that analogy is good.
That's actually a good point. I don't think you have a 1 in 1,000 chance of dying from eating Skittles, but there is likely you could die from eating Skittles.
Most definitely. Easy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then people don't consider, she didn't consider that.
I bet there's somebody who took a handful of Skittles and was chewing it and had a big clump of Skittles and then choked on it.
I bet your bottom dollar that's happened to someone somewhere. But that's what it's about. It's about risk. It's about assessing the risk. Really, there's nothing in life that we do that has 100% survival rate, where you can trip down the stairs, break your leg, get infected, there's so many different things. You can drive your car to work. You can die in a crash. All of those things are risk.
Here's what I was saying about it. When she mentions, the Skittles and the risk and the 0.1%, the people who want to work their jobs aren't doing it because they're bored.
Right.
This is the crazy thing about the left's argument supporting this. They think the people who need to work jobs are doing it for fun. It's a weird view of work. Like, people work, yes, for fulfillment, but typically because they have responsibilities, and they're producing for themselves, their friends, and their families to survive. So here's what I was thinking. Take that logic of risk and what risk you're willing to accept and apply it to any other job. Imagine if there was a firefighter, and then he saw a fire, and then another firefighter was like, whoa, don't go in that burning building. You might get burned.
Whoa.
It's like, well, yeah, I realize that. In fact, the likelihood that a firefighter going into a burning building gets burned in some capacity is probably, I'm not saying like serious injury. I'm just saying like you might get sick, there's risk, serious risk. And we often talk about, firefighters, I think is the best example. I could do cops, but I think firefighters, everybody generally likes, They know going into a burning building is a substantial risk. Like, I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie Backdraft. I haven't seen it since I was a little kid. But Backdraft is, I'm probably getting the fire science wrong. Somebody in the comments will correct me. But when there's a fire and it becomes oxygen starved, and then you open the door giving air to the room, then there's a big burst and it hits you. And so there's things like that. I remember I was told a story by my dad, who was a firefighter for like 20-something years. You go on the roof and you'll hear creaking. And then all the firefighters like look around at each other like, what do we do? And they train you, if you hear creaking, if you get scared, you get out. You don't wait for anybody else, because people will look to each other and then not move. But then the roof caves in. So like these risks are legit.
Yeah.
And imagine if they all were sitting around and the alarm went off and they were like, I don't know, man. If I told you there were 100 buildings and one of them would be on fire, would you go in a building? It's like, I probably would. You know
also,
what I mean?
She's got some dumb analogy to Skittles. And like, she's talking about people's livelihoods.
Right.
So you got to take the risk of going to work. It's not eating candy. They're not going to work for candy.
Right.
I got to be mean. I got to be mean.
Do it.
I don't want to be mean, but I got to bring up Kyle Kalinske. And I think Kyle Kalinske is a good dude. He's a good dude. He doesn't, I think he acts in good faith, and I respect him a lot. But he had this tweet that I got to bring up, and I'm not doing it. I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't know if you guys saw this, where he was in an airplane.
Yes.
And he saw all these farms, and he took a picture, and he said something like, "So beautiful, I wonder why it looks like this." And he got roasted like crazy because people were like, "Bro, like, have you ever seen a farm before?" And I felt bad because, look, man, there's a lot of people who deserve. They're nasty people. They're mean on Twitter. I don't care if you're left or right. There's a lot of really nasty people. Now, he's a good dude. And so him getting roasted hard, I was like, come on, man. Like he tries to be good to people, you know, if he got something wrong. But it is a good point. He's a progressive. He's got a very prominent, popular YouTube channel, and he didn't know what a farm looked like. And that says a lot. It does.
Yeah.
Because he's a thought leader. And so again, I'm not trying to be mean or disrespectful or anything, but just think about that. Because I've had so many conversations with people on the left, like my friends who live in cities. They don't have the ability, or I should say the experience and the knowledge or the wisdom to connect farms, supply chain, food in your restaurants. It's like they've never put in an order for food. They don't know where it comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I'll give you an example, man. We've been people keep telling us sell beanies, right? They're like, when are you guys going to sell beanies? Well, we can't get them made. First of all, COVID made it really, really hard. But getting the specific product put together, like designed properly, not those nasty acrylic garbage beanies you get at the gas station, or like a real good one, like the ones I'm wearing. You got to find the place that makes them. The place that makes them has to get the right material. And so we call up these companies and they say, we got to order from this place in this part of the country, or even ordering skateboards. Like I was doing that when I was a teenager, trying to figure out where the wood's being sourced from and then seeing where that, supply chain comes. Many of these people on the left, they were telling me when I kept telling people printing money will not get you food. And they were like, dude, you can just go to the store and buy it. Where do you think the food in the store comes from? It comes on a truck. So here's what people don't get. People who live in cities who don't understand this. They've not run a business. They've not built or produced. Maybe they work service jobs or they work digital jobs, coding or media or whatever. They don't understand that supply chain. And so to them, it's just poof, the food appears. It's just in the store. And what they really don't get, and this is the crazy one, is that when the COVID pandemic hit, there were a couple weeks or about a month where it seemed like everything was normal. You go to the store and there was food and there was milk and there were bagels and there was cream cheese. But then one day it was gone. But it was a delayed reaction. Why? The trucks were already being sent out. The shipments came in, docked at the ports, loaded up on trucks, the shipping containers. The trucks then start driving around the country, and it takes a certain there's a delay. So when they announce that they're doing a lockdown, you're not going to just go to the store and everything's gone. Because not only do they have a current stock, they have the backroom stock, then they have like 3 more shipments, next week, the week after, already lined up. A month later, everything's gone.
Yeah.
And you go into the store and the toilet paper was gone. Everyone's like, oh, what's happening? Oh, where's all the toilet paper? It's like, yeah, well, I hope you bought some.
That's why it's so easy for them to demonize work, though, because they don't value it and they don't understand what people do and how they do it and why they produce in the way that they are. I mean, that's the beauty of absolutely when it comes to capitalism. That's the beauty for me and why I love it so much. And unfortunately, it's spoiled a lot of these guys because, you can have virtually no skill, not know how this stuff is produced, but you can get something, whether it be a water bottle or something that you have no idea how to purify water or something, but you bought it, it's yours. Now you can drink it, you can hydrate yourself, having not ever understood how you got it. And a lot of folks skip that step because they don't understand. They don't even care to really understand. That's why it's so easy for them to say, why can't we just shut it all down? And then the government can just print money to everybody and they just give it to us while we sit down and do nothing. It's so easy for them to say that because they don't understand why it is that we work. They don't understand production. They don't understand why it is that we produce. And it's so frustrating for me to see people. And I was a former collegiate athlete and seeing my natural transition was in the gym industry right out of college. And to see that was the first thing to go when it came to the lockdowns, gyms.
Yes.
That's
it
crazy.
Was so frustrating to me, not only because I understand like a lot of guys that own gyms, small and even franchised, aren't really usually rich anyway, like that. And you get people put their life savings into trying to open up this gym. They open up this gym and then you say basically, well, it's not safe for them to do what it is that they do. Well, it's not essential. Now, not only was that crazy because of that, but, we definitely, when we learn more about the virus and we know who was being impacted the most, you think the gym was the place that people wanted to go to try to get their behinds in some sort of shape. Yeah. So if they do contract this virus, they have a better chance of surviving it. But the gyms were the first thing to go. But it's just so easy, and how willy-nilly people just say, shut the gym down, shut the salon down. It's no big deal. We don't need it. We just leave these other folks open, and they don't understand like why it is that they're producing in the way
Isn't
that they
there
are.
like an interesting correlation between the idea that these people don't know where food comes from and also like the body positivity movements and like privilege and all this stuff? They don't understand the value of not just like labor that produces for the economy, but just good old fashioned rolling up your sleeves and working and the benefits that come with it. Like there are people who do, you can farming is good training.
Absolutely.
Like actually just like tilling a field and doing work, and then you'll realize, man, you got crazy upper body strength from it. A good hard day's work makes you healthy, makes you better. We need it. They don't get that. So now you've got, people who just eat irresponsibly and assume the food's just there and who cares, and they don't got to do anything to take care of themselves. And this ties into like universal healthcare and stuff.
Oh man.
You know what, man? I was actually, I was even recently saying that I was very much in favor of universal healthcare if it could be accomplished. I like the idea that we take care of everybody and we got to figure out the right way to do it. And one of the arguments I've often made is, like, and I think we talked about this, Ian, like if you break your arm, you go to the doctor, they take care of you. Like you broke your arm, it's not expensive treatment, it's like standard care. But if you get like a serious cancer, then you need private insurance on top of that because that's expensive to produce and everything like that. But I'll tell you, I changed my mind on this when I saw that they were giving for COVID vaccine racial guidelines, and then I was like, "Whoa, no way, dude! I'm out. I'm totally off that wagon."
The thing about me with the healthcare thing and why I just can't take anybody serious for advocating for it, it's because they certainly don't advocate for, let's say, a mandate on top of the healthcare that you be required to like work out or anything.
Exactly. Well, that was a point I wanted to make.
Right? Like they don't make that a requirement. They don't even advocate that. This is why you have
fascism.
people. Yeah, of course. Like how? Like
even though I think the Soviets made people do calisthenics or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
like because obviously you'd be less of a burden on the healthcare system if the healthier you are. But they don't certainly pitch that as an idea.
See, that's the thing about authoritarianism. If you were going to say we're going to do universal health care, but the only way to make it work is that everybody has to do a physical or something or exercise, that would make sense. And then you're forcing people to do something.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to be like, no, you can eat all the double bacon, triple cheeseburgers you want, and then we're all going to pay for your health bill.
Sugar. With food stamps,
sugar.
you go buy Pepsi, and you can buy all Pepsi with your entire
Dude,
food
that's
stamp
insane.
check.
It's crazy, man. When I was
Criminal.
It's
addictive drug. Sugar.
Yeah.
When I was 20, but like even outside of that, even outside of like whether or not you want to rag on sugar, when I was 20, I had a food benefit card when I was effectively, I don't want to say I was homeless in Seattle, but I was like, I moved there, I was pretty broke, and I was like sleeping on a couch, and I ended up getting a food card. I got a job really quickly within like a month, but while I didn't, they gave me like $80. And I went into a store and they said you can buy anything that isn't prepared. And I was like, I can buy this Butterfinger. And they're like, yeah. I was like, that's insane. That's crazy. Why are you like buying candy with it?
It's sickness, man.
It's like, I understand, like, I think benefits are good. Like I mentioned, like I was helped by them, like I was able to, I moved to Seattle and then, had a hard time, and I was able to get like $80 for 1 month. Not a whole lot of money. It didn't really do a lot for me, but it helped me eat, and I didn't buy candy bars with it. No. But a lot of people do.
No, that's exactly what they buy. I mean, this is one of the things that I certainly learned when I went into like a huge out of college, like this huge like budgeting thing where I was like, I want to know how much money I'm spending and spending it on what. And you just be surprised how much money you spend on stuff that is not obviously nutritious, but more so how much it doesn't cost that much to eat healthy. It really, a lot of people think it does.
I agree,
but it really doesn't. Like, the amount of money, like you go to, I don't know, a Burger King or something and you get a large meal, you're going to come out that bad boy paying what, like $10 or something like that? That for that particular meal. Do you know what you could get at the grocery store?
Yeah.
For $10, seriously.
12 pounds of bananas. What is a banana? Like $1.29 a pound,
packed with nutrients.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
so good.
You get a thing of peanut butter and you get a thing of bananas, and you got
rice,
3 meals compared to what you'd get.
Chicken breast.
You get with rice and a can of beans. You have like 3 meals.
Exactly.
For like $4.
And we keep hearing,
and it's healthier than that.
This is what really bothers me. I think the modern left is chock full of low information individuals who ruin the ideas of what the left is supposed to actually be arguing for. Economic cooperation versus economic competition. That's like the easiest way, I think, to break down what left and right would be. So I like the idea of social safety nets. The only problem is you have people who are like, back to this point, I hear it over and over again. It's expensive to eat healthy. And they have these videos, they put these viral videos where they're like, but wouldn't you rather just spend $1 at McDonald's for a double cheeseburger? When I lived in Los Angeles, I was broke. and I was sharing a studio apartment with some friends, and I was making only a couple $100 a month. You know what I would do? For 80 cents, I could get 4 tomatoes and a little thing of mayo, and then for another like 50 cents, I could get a pack of tortillas.
There you go.
And that was just like my snack for lunch or whatever. But eating tomatoes for like $1, I could have like 10 times the food.
Absolutely.
Of a double cheeseburger. And I'll tell you this, they argue, but the cheeseburger's protein and all that stuff. Oh yeah, and then I'd buy a thing of peanut butter later. And then I would, like I was broke. But I couldn't spend $3 on a burger.
That's
a
one
burger
meal.
fries.
That's one meal.
Yeah.
That's one meal.
But it's not good for you.
Right.
It's like 98% of your daily sodium. Like after that, you just get sick and bloated. And then you get, you get mud butt from eating that trash fast food. Yeah, no good. So I would just have some tomatoes, some tortillas. I would get some beans and peanut butter, and it would cost me dirt. Man, when I was flat broke, I figured out a way to get the food that I needed, and I was not eating well, not at all. And I've been through a lot of periods in my life where I was not eating well, and that's part of the reason why I'm fairly lefty, but I'm also fairly responsible. So when I got a food cart in Seattle, I would buy fruit juice with it. I would buy like protein and peanut butter. And what people were telling me, like, you could just buy chocolate bars, double cheese, like you could buy freezer cheeseburgers. I'm like, what?
Yeah, but that's why.
How do we fix that, man?
Right, and I don't think it can be. I mean, because the great, Thomas Sowell, when he talks about welfare statism, and the way that he breaks it down to me is genius, and the way it's broken down to me, and the way I break it down to everybody else, is that I understand the good intention, right? You have someone that is down and out, and you want them to be supported in some kind of way. The problem is that how it's structured, and generally how it's structured everywhere else, is that you're incentivizing them to fail. Because what you do is you say, as long as you meet this line, we'll give you whatever it is that you need. Housing, food. The minute you get above that line, we're stripping it all away from you. And that's what they're doing. They're incentivizing. That's why a lot of folks that are there stay there.
You want to know what I really love about this? I'm successful. I'm a high school dropout. When I talk to people about how to succeed and work hard, I say, if you work hard and you're smart and you sacrifice, you will succeed. They say, Tim, you're the exception, not the rule. Man. But hold on. Then when I say, there was a period in my life where I got welfare. I got food stamps to help me survive. They say, see, it helped you and then you succeeded. But why aren't I the exception?
Yeah, exactly.
You see how they play it?
Yeah.
So I actually use that argument. I say, like, I think for me, it's a good example of how it works. I moved to Seattle. I had, some bad stuff came up. I ran out of money. And so I got some food help. I immediately got a job at a local cafe, and then I immediately got off of it. I had it for about a month. And a bunch of other people, a lot of people that I knew in Seattle they purposefully didn't want to work.
Yeah.
They would go food bank to food bank. They would just make up lies and excuses to get their benefits and stuff like that. And so I don't know what, I'm not going to, I can only speak from my own personal experiences, but I'll point out when I try and tell people, I'm not the exception when it comes to hard work and success. Not in the least bit. Okay. You want to work for 3 years with no days off, 16-hour days? Trust me, you'll figure something out.
Yeah.
As long as you're dedicated to doing something and making it work. I understand not everybody's going to succeed. Okay. But it's certainly not an exception to say working hard leads to some kind
Not
of
at
success.
all. I mean, that's the common theme that you see with a lot of people. I mean, I grew up in a single-parent household. Mother didn't have too much of anything. I remember wearing the same Iverson shoes for a couple of years, even though I was growing. No, that's a real thing. But my mother was working 2-3 jobs at a time just to try to get me to do stuff that I wanted to do.
But am I the exception to the food card thing then?
Well, that's an argument to be made, and I think you are, to be completely honest, because you look at how intergenerational poverty works in this country, right? It's not like it's this mechanism where people, because yes, it's true that folks slide up and down economic classes all the time. That is absolutely true. That is irrefutable. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't talk about it enough. But when you talk about people that are considered in poverty, the reason why that term intergenerational poverty exists is because it's exactly that, where you have someone that comes in poor, remains poor. And to sit up here and think that, and this is what actually frustrates me as someone that came from that style of living. I grew up banging. There's nothing that anybody can tell me about living that particular lifestyle. And to see folks that include my own father To see folks that didn't do everything it was that they could do to get out of that situation was what kind of changed my mind, obviously, as I gotten older, because I'm outworking the people that are right next to me. And they say, well, they're going to give it to me anyway, the money, Section 8 housing or whatever it is that I have, that I'm getting. I want to stay exactly where I am at. And this is why when we talk about welfare and we talk about needs and we talk about necessity, I certainly understand all of those arguments, and there's absolutely arguments to be made. But to sit here and act like every single person that is in that particular position, it doesn't really matter if you're poor or rich, but certainly when we're talking, just to make it unique to this conversation, if you're talking about those, to act like it's like they've, number one, done everything they could get out of it is horse crap. But most importantly, let's not talk as if there aren't people that done everything they could to get into that and to remain exactly where they are. My own father speaks to that.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.